Greetings, fellow travelers. This is another one of those sometimes I hate this game video, and I'm trying to do something a little different, which is the headset to help with the volume issue because the last recording I did of myself talking, well, I got some feedback that it was very low, and even myself, when I was listening to it, to get a summary of what I had said for the description on YouTube was, well, appalled about how soft it was. So, the what I'm going to talk about is related to the main story quest line, specifically the Atlas story and the Artemis story. I've been playing the Atlas storyline, not realizing that you could not progress past a certain point um, if you had not completed the um, Artemis questline. Yeah, you had to Reddit this to find out that you couldn't. Simple thing that Hello Games could do is in the description of the questline, give the steps. One of the steps would be must complete Artemis questline. Not hard, not difficult. Other games do this. And I'm distracted by my own image on the Mac, and I'm turning my head in the opposite direction of what I'm trying to do. So I really should just focus on the camera and try to ignore the image. So I've obviously arrived at the conclusion that I had to finish the Artemis questline, so I jumped in, and well, this is where we get to the first complaint. Goodness gracious, how many times do you have to warp from one planet to the next, or one star system to the next? Um, Again, with no clue how far you progress, maybe a percentage, it's like 2% travel, 5% travel, 15% travel to the location. But that way, you know there's a reasonable end in sight. I mean, it got so bad that I would actually launch the fighter, go upstairs and watch 5 minutes of Netflix, come back down, hoping I haven't run into some sort of pirate fleet and got myself wiped out. Simply because sitting in the chair watching the warp field, for lack of a better view, just got a bit stultifying after a while. So I'm jumping from one world to the next, and I stumble across, or I'm intercepted by either a living frigate or a living ship. I just don't know. And it bequeaths me a egg and a associated quest, which, if I understand correctly, the end result would have either been a living frigate or a living ship, if I understand correctly, because that's the second complaint. Could not complete the quest. There seems to be a number of steps involved. Each step seems to open a new subquest with a different description about the egg, different parts to assemble for the ship, different running around the planets to get what you need. And all of this seems to be geographically located wherever you are. So it's not like you can just stop the darn thing, go home, and resume the quest, around your main base area. No, you're stuck in the middle of nowhere doing this. So far, so not so bad. I mean, okay, I'm 1 hour or so into it when the next step is, oh, this thing is fragile, it's new, you have to wait 20 hours. Okay, this is the part where it would have been nice if there was a please jump ahead button. You don't need to be sitting on your duff for 20 hours. I didn't dare leave. Maybe I should have just dropped out a base computer or something, but I didn't want to leave and compromise the quest. So parked the game there, played some Call of Duty, played a little Destiny, watched a little Netflix, went to work, came back, and hey, the third little quest card opens, and you have to go there, wherever there is, to put your new part in the doodad. And, no indication as to whether you're on step 1, 3, 5, 6 or 17 or whatever. And the reason why the lighting is changing so much is the screensaver kicked in Metal Gear Solid 5, and some of the images are nighttime images, so the computer screen is less bright. Let's solve this right now and go back to the default screen of the computer. So I get to the place, put the parts in the doodad. We finally find out what those gigantic rings are for, only to be told, oh great, you now have this part and it's equally fragile and you need to wait another 24 hours, yeah, my neck is sore, in order to get to whatever next step is. Oh, again, I parked the game. Next day I come back, and while all the ingredients and the parts you've accumulated so far are still there, the 2 previous quest steps are gone. You're back to the original quest step, which says blah 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 bzz, bzz, ba beep boop. Oh, go look at this, go look at that, and you can see it. And in retrospect, I suppose if you could record the entire quest and stop at the various steps, you probably those one sentence words, description things would actually make sense. But out of context, well, no. So I just spent 2 to 3 days on a quest. I got bupkis out of it. Nothing. Nada. Not even the option of parking the quest, like you can do in Destiny, for God's sakes. And limited to seasonal constraints. And then resume later. No, it's gone. I can maybe restart it from scratch. I don't know. But yeah, quite a downer. So at that point, I decided to resume the Artemis quest. And, well, still jumping from one planet to the next with no end in sight. It is frustrating. I don't think Hello Games will ever watch this video. I don't think any game developers ever will. But to me, there seems to be one thing they've all missed. If you're going to give difficulties to your game, easy, regular, hard, challenging. Oh, great, coughing fit. The difficulty adjustment should not be limited only to the damage output of opponents. For example, in creative mode or casual mode in No Man's Sky, how about limiting the steps to get to Artemis or the jumps to get to Artemis to, I don't know, 5 or 6? And in the regular setting, 10 or 15 or whatever the magic number is. And for those guys who like to play permadeath, double that. The same thing with like parkour in Destiny. If you're playing it casually, you're just doing a strike as opposed to a nightfall strike, which is harder. Why not reduce the amount of parkour? Why not make it just easier to get from A to B? There other examples come to mind, but nothing at this exact moment. It's a little bit annoying to set the game in story or easy because you just want to find out what the story is and get yourself blocked at one point because it's just too darn hard to get past this one point. So, yeah, No Man's Sky. Apparently, I'm still got that crink in my neck. I'm at 75% done. Don't know what that means. I don't know what contributed to that 75%. I don't know if it's a story. I don't know if it's building. I don't know if it's planets discovered. Yeah. Oh yeah, people were wondering why the glasses are smaller. These are my driving glasses as opposed to my reading glasses, which are just a little bit smaller. And don't go past the side of my face and therefore cause the eyes to be very small compared to the rest of the face. So, well, on the other hand, I'm having a bit of a hard time seeing myself. It's great. That Star Trek effect, you know. When Kirk sees a beautiful woman, slightly out of focus. Yeah. Oh, that's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. A quest with no end in sight, a buggy quest, and again, just unnecessarily frustrating. I play video games to relax and distract myself from, well, how hard work can be. It's supposed to be a retirement job. The new owners are trying to drum up more business. A lot of changes, which is occasionally frustrating or baffling or just exhausting for the staff to keep up with. And we have a fellow who had a mild heart attack, so the schedule is completely up in air as they're trying to move us around to cover holes. And I don't begrudge the guy, and I don't begrudge my boss for trying to cover the holes in the staffing. But last week I changed my entire schedule from day to night, only to be told at the last minute, "Oh yeah, please come tomorrow at daytime." It's like, what? And then this thing happens with No Man's Sky, and it's just like, oh, for Pete's sakes. Anyway, at this point, I think I'm starting to babble, so I'm gonna call it quits. See you later, fellow travelers.